The Tiger, the German tank that terrified the Soviets and how it was defeated. Picture this. It's 1942, and the battlefields of World War II are a chaotic mess of smoke, fire, and destruction. Amid the chaos rolls in a beast unlike anything seen before, a massive, heavily armored tank spitting death with every shot. This was the German Tiger tank, Panzerkampfwagen 6, a machine that sent chills down the spines of Soviet tank crews. When it first appeared on the Eastern Front, it was a game-changer, a seemingly unstoppable force. But the Soviet soldiers, with grit, smarts, and sheer determination, found ways to fight back and overcome this steel giant. This isn't just a list of 10 facts about the Tiger. It's a deep dive into the heart-pounding drama of those war-torn years, packed with historical insights, economic breakdowns, and my own take on what made this tank so legendary and how it was ultimately defeated. Ready for an epic ride through history? Let's roll. 1. The Tiger, a masterpiece of German engineering. When the Tiger tank hit the scene, it was like something out of a sci-fi movie. With frontal armor up to 100 millimeters thick, compared to the Soviet T-34's 45 to 60 millimeters, it was practically a fortress on tracks. Most Soviet tank and anti-tank guns couldn't even scratch it at standard combat ranges. The real game-changer, though, was its 88 millimeters KWK-36 gun. This beast could take out Soviet tanks like the T-34 or KV-1 from nearly 1.2 miles away. Imagine being in a Soviet tank, spotting a Tiger in the distance, and knowing it could hit you before you even got close enough to fire back. That's the kind of terror the Tiger brought to the battlefield. Why did Germany build such a monster? It was all about their strategy, quality over quantity. Instead of churning out tons of tanks, they focused on creating high-tech, powerful machines to dominate the fight. The Tiger was the poster child for that philosophy. But as we'll see, that approach had some serious flaws. My take: the Germans pulled off an engineering marvel with the Tiger. It was a symbol of their belief in technological supremacy. But I think their obsession with building superweapons was their downfall. The Tiger's complexity and cost limited its numbers, giving the Soviets a fighting chance. 2. First encounter: a shock near Leningrad. September 1942, near Leningrad, now St. Petersburg. The Soviet troops were already battling through the brutal siege of the city, facing starvation and constant attacks. Then, out of nowhere, the Tiger rolled onto the battlefield, its first combat debut on the Eastern Front. It was a gut punch for the Red Army. Soviet tankers and gunners were stunned. Their standard 76 millimeters guns bounced off the Tiger's thick hide like pebbles. The Germans could pick off Soviet positions from a safe distance, their armor shrugging off almost everything thrown at them. The losses were brutal. But here's the kicker: the Soviets didn't back down. They fought tooth and nail, using every trick in the book. And get this, they managed to capture a fully intact Tiger. That trophy was a gold mine. Soviet engineers hauled it to a testing ground, tore it apart, and studied its strengths and weaknesses, laying the groundwork for how to beat it. Historical note: the captured Tiger was sent to the Kubinka Proving Ground, where Soviet experts dissected it. They learned it was vulnerable from the sides and rear and could be targeted with new ammo types. This intel shaped their future tactics and weapons. My thoughts: can you imagine the guts it took to face that monster? Soviet soldiers, despite the odds, not only held their ground but turned the tables by nabbing a Tiger. That's the kind of courage that defines heroes. 3. The Tiger's Achilles heel. The Tiger was a beast, but it wasn't perfect. His biggest flaw? It was a nightmare to build and maintain. A single Tiger cost about 250,000 Reichsmarks, roughly $1.2 million in today's dollars. Compare that to the Soviet T-34, which was about 10 times cheaper. For every Tiger, the Soviets could field a dozen T-34s. On top of that, the Tiger was a maintenance hog. Its engine overheated, its suspension broke down on rough terrain, and fixing it in the field was a mechanic's worst nightmare. Germany only managed to produce about 1,350 Tigers during the entire war, while the Soviets pumped out over 50,000 T-34s. Economic breakdown. Germany's war economy was stretched thin, short on resources, labor, and factory capacity. Betting on pricey, complex tanks like the Tiger was a strategic misstep. The Soviets, meanwhile, mastered mass production. The T-34 was cheaper, easier to fix, and could be churned out fast. This let them overwhelm German quality with sheer numbers. My take: Germany thought they could win with high-tech tanks, but they underestimated the power of mass production. The Tiger was like a fancy sports car, powerful but impractical for war. The Soviet approach was smarter and, frankly, won the day. 4. The Soviet counterpunch: new weapons to fight the Tiger. The Soviets weren't about to let the Tiger run the show. By late 1942, their engineers were hard at work designing new anti-tank weapons. They rolled out beefier 85mm guns and developed cumulative rounds, special ammo that burned through armor with heat instead of brute force. The real game-changer came in 1943 with the IS-2 tank, armed with a monstrous 122mm gun. This thing could punch through a Tiger's armor from nearly a mile away. Suddenly, Soviet tankers could go toe-to-toe with the German beast. The Soviets also got crafty with tactics. They lured Tigers into ambushes, hit them from the sides, and leaned on artillery and air support to even the odds. Anti-tank guns like the ZIS-3 were upgraded to take on heavy German armor. Historical example. In a 1943 battle, Soviet gunners set a trap, using decoy positions to draw a Tiger into a kill zone. Multiple guns opened fire from different angles, wrecking the tank before its crew knew what hit them. That's the power of brains over brawn. My thoughts. The Soviets showed incredible adaptability. They didn't just build better weapons, they learned how to use them like pros. It's a testament to human ingenuity under pressure. 5. The Battle of Kursk, the Tiger's last stand. Summer 1943. The Battle of Kursk. It was one of the biggest tank clashes in history. The Germans banked on their Tigers and newer Panther tanks to smash through Soviet defenses and turn the war in their favor. Spoiler: it didn't work out. The Soviets were ready. They built a massive, layered defense with minefields, anti-tank guns, and tanks galore. The Tigers ran into a wall of resistance. Soviet planes hammered German tank columns, and artillery pounded them relentlessly. The Germans lost hundreds of tanks, including plenty of Tigers. Kursk was a turning point. Germany couldn't launch major offensives on the Eastern Front after that. The Soviets went on the attack, and the Tiger's aura of invincibility was shattered. Economic context. Kursk exposed Germany's weakness. Every lost Tiger was a massive blow. They couldn't replace them fast enough. The Soviets, with their streamlined production, kept their forces strong and pushed forward. My take: Kursk wasn't just a military win for the Soviets. It was an economic knockout. Germany couldn't afford to lose tanks like that while the Soviets kept the pressure on. It was the beginning of the end for the Tigers' dominance. 6. Heroes of the Red Army. Soviet tankers, gunners, and foot soldiers showed jaw-dropping bravery against the Tigers. They used mines, grenades, and even Molotov cocktails, anything to stop those beasts. Some soldiers crawled under fire to plant explosives right under the Tigers' tracks. Take the story of Lieutenant Alexander Berta's T-34 crew. In 1943, they took on 2 Tigers, using the terrain to flank one and disable the other. Berta earned the Hero of the Soviet Union title for that gutsy move. My thoughts: these stories hit hard. These soldiers faced death head-on and still fought like lions. Their courage is the kind of thing that inspires generations. 7. The Tiger's lasting impact. The Tiger wasn't just a tank. It was a wake-up call for the world. Its design influenced tank development globally. After the war, the US and Britain studied captured Tigers to improve their own designs. The Soviets took notes too, leading to tanks like the IS-3 and T-44, which shaped their post-war arsenal. Even today's tanks, like the US Abrams or Russia's T-90, owe a nod to the Tiger's innovations. Pushed everyone to think bigger and tougher. My take: the Tiger was a game-changer, no doubt. It forced the world to rethink tank design. But its real lesson: power needs practicality. Overcomplicating things can backfire. 8. Taming the Tiger. The Tiger was a monster, but it couldn't win the war. The Soviets overwhelmed it with numbers, smarter tactics, and new weapons. By 1944, the Red Army was on the offensive, and the Tigers couldn't stop them. It wasn't just tanks. Soviet planes, artillery, and infantry worked together like a well-oiled machine. Economic angle. Germany's economy was crumbling by 1944. Fuel, materials, and workers were scarce, making Tigers harder to build. The Soviets, with a robust war economy, kept their forces stocked and ready. My thoughts: beating the Tiger was about more than tech. It was about teamwork and grit. The Soviets proved that a united effort could topple even the mightiest foe. 9. The Tiger as a symbol. The Tiger was more than a tank. For Germany, it was a symbol of their tech-driven war machine. For the Soviets, it was a challenge to overcome. Today, Tigers in museums remind us of the war's cost and the sacrifices made for victory. My take: the Tiger is a powerful reminder of WWII's stakes. It's a symbol of both ambition and the human spirit that defeated it. We should never forget what it represents. 10. Lessons from the battlefield. The Tiger story is about more than metal and firepower. It's about the Soviet soldiers who faced impossible odds and won through courage and ingenuity. Their victory teaches us that no enemy is unbeatable with the right mindset. We need to remember these lessons. War is a tragedy we can avoid, but if it comes, we must fight with everything we've got, just like those Soviet heroes.